Hi, I would like to discover Graphite with you. It's a procedural toolbox for 2D content creation. It's a free open source vector graphics editor and animation engine, but it can also do bitmaps, or at least it will become a lot more powerful for bitmaps. So, well, we can learn how to use it, or we can look at the features. There is this, what's made me discover it, and now there is also a newer YouTube video since yesterday or the day before yesterday. Yeah. Anyway, so let's launch it. There you go. So we can make a new document. We can say how big it has to be, or we can make an infinite canvas. Let's say that we want to make 1024 by 600. Okay, and we can give it a name. Doodle. There you go. So now we have an artboard where we can draw. We can create a new artboard. Second one. But let's not do that. The artboards can overlap, it seems. Anyway, let's remove that one. So here we have our artboard with specific dimensions. Eyedropper. Let's discover what we have. Gradient that we will do later. Fill we will do later. Path. Let's draw a path. No. Let's draw a line. I do right mouse button to stop. Oh yes, I think there's a way to say what kind of mouse movement you want. Where is that? Oops, what did I do? Oh, now we're back here. References. No, that's in another program. Okay, so it's always, I'm making a new one already. Right mouse button to stop, and you see that it tries to, we can also, now we can use this tool. We need to select this first, and then this tool. Yeah, now we can modify the points. I think there is a way to remove them, probably with Shift or Control, Alt, double click. Yeah, double click makes it so here now it's broken, let's say, but if you double click then it becomes fluent. So that's nice. What's this? This is simply drawing with a pen, and then you would expect that you can say and then here we can say that we want to have comes around. Now it's correct. Maybe make it bigger. Then it's clearer. So but square, bevel. Does bevel do? Round. Ah, now everything is rounded. Everything is beveled, and miter seems to be the. What's nice about this? Oh, let's select it, and then this one again, and we can change whatever we like here at this point. Suppose we can also remove a few. And add some more, but look, now it became, because I double clicked. That's good. What else can we do? Create a path. So this tool allows us to first we need to select it. Oh. And then we can use this tool. Can also draw rectangles, and we can even have them be transparent, I think. Oh, I thought it could be transparent. Oh no, this is the stroke that's now transparent. So we want to make the fill transparent. There, now we can see through. We don't want the fill to be transparent. We want the fill to be blue. We could also say that we want the fill not to be transparent. But with an alpha channel. Oh, another thing we can do is to skew it. Or to rotate it. Or to scale it. And then we have circles, of course. Do shift to make it actually round, or no, shift to make it elliptic. And then we have this. Can still move it. And what's funny about this one is that we can say that we want to have bar sides. Or this. No less than 3. Oh. 7. We can change the radius. We can also skew it. We can scale one part of it, or we can rotate it. That's good. Then of course you can write some text. Hi world. And then we can of course say that we want our text to be in another color. You always have to click here again. all the weight. But what's also interesting is that we can change the font, of course. There you go. And this one is only in regular. The Punchy Spice size. Line height. This is more. I know this is max width and max height. It's more for GTP. So this is about the width. I want to center it right. I want to justify it. I want to center it. Okay. Brush tool. What does that do? Wow. Draw, erase, no. Color, spacing, hardness. Okay. Diameter. So I can also select one. Oh, no, this one is on. Let's remove all that from view, so it's easier to select something. Ah, they're all together. It's not what I had expected. Okay, shallow select, deep select. And now these things are gone there, so probably I need to do this again. Yeah. Now I'm drawing more. I want to select it and change it. Trace. Oh, then I go here. Didn't want to go there yet. Okay, so that's nice. So here we can also set a different color for drawing. Hardness. Spacing. Oh yeah, I can choose the color there as well. Custom color. It's the secondary working color. Ah, so that's down there and it's also up here. Normal. Color burn. Soft light. Yeah, I'm not much of an artist, so I don't know how to use all that, but what we can see is that we have all of our things here. And we can move them around. Oops. Ah no, now it became part of that. It should be. So you have to be careful when you move them. So to rearrange them, that's possible here. You can apparently, let's bring this one all the way to the top. And then we can change the opacity and the fill. You can do that there as well. And you can see immediately the effect as well. Hard light, soft light. opacity. This goes beyond light and screen. Dot color, dodge, hard light, soft light, overlay. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of possibilities. Okay, so let's remove all that. Delete. Start with something simpler. Let's give it a color. There. You can also fill it with a gradient. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Control Z. So you can fill it with a gradient. And then if you click here, here you can see how to apply the gradient. Okay, I'm again doing this one wrong. I don't want a border, I want to work on the fill. There, now the gradient has a fill. But what you can do now as well is add a point here and choose a different color for that part. And then add even one more and yet another color. And then you can say where you want these gradients to be applied. Still not much of an artist, but I think it's cool that you can do that. Okay, so what else do we have? Linear, radial. I can also do radial. Then it's on a circle. Okay, so now you can do eyedropper and you can find the color of this one, and I think it wouldn't there. Let's see, yeah. So now you see it here, and then you can use it for something else. So let's draw a circle and say that, yeah, the color of the circle became this, but I want that to be the fill color. So I can go here and I can grab this value, and then I want this to be transparent, and I want to use that color here. There's probably a different way to do that, but I don't know it. So now we have that, now we have this there, okay. So now what can we do? We can of course say that we want this to be with an alpha channel. But there is something else we can do as well. We can say that we want these two layers and we want to subtract them from each other with this or that or that or that. Or combine. Combine is weird. Why? Oh. Boolean operation. And what is really nice is that you can always undo it. Ah yeah, okay, so if I do both, and then I change the order, then it becomes the opposite. And what is really nice is that you can still move this one. So So everything you do is non-destructive. You can always decide to do something else, change your mind. That looks really weird. Okay, what else can we do? Now, what is really powerful about this, so you can do all this from this mode, but there is a different mode. You can also go and have a look here, and then you see how it all happens. So, and then you can say I want to see this or not. That's the same as doing it there. But you can, for example, take away this transform by doing this or putting it back. The transform is actually so here and is actually doing the movement, the rotation, but look at what point it pivots, and the scale. Now, what is really interesting here, I think, is that say that you want to do the scale, but you want to move both sides, you want to make it bigger or smaller in two directions at the same time. You can open this, and now we have an extra place here where we can put an input. And now we can do magic, right mouse button, value, and we find a number value, and we feed this number value there into the scale. That did not work because it's not number value that we need directly. We need a vector. It's x and y, so it's value. I think it's vec to value. Let's see, vec to value. Yeah, we can open these two and feed the same value in here, and then give that to the scale. Now it's not an error, but since this is 0, it's not doing much. So let's say around 55. Why is it not showing? Transform, rotation, let's set this back to 0. Let's set this to 0 as well. It's not showing. Maybe 55 is way too much. So it's more like 1.5 or so. Yeah, there you go. So steps are a bit big. So what we can also do is say that we want to do some arithmetic, and I want to divide by 100. And then I can put this in between there. And I want to do the same with this one. So if I drag here, then it's going to replace that. So now we have 100, which should be, oh yeah, now it's way too small, of course. So now I have to do like 55, and then it becomes easier to, it's a nicer value. What we can also do is multiply, arithmetic, multiply by 2, and put this multiplication in between here. Come on, up. There, multiply. So now it's always, if I change this, it's always going to be factor 2. But then, yeah, that's actually, so you can also say that you want this multiplication factor to be a value, So we got to do Control D here to duplicate this one, and then the multiplicand. So to do 1. So normally it's 1, but you can make it 2 or 3 or 1.5. So you can play with that. If you do negative values, works too. So that's something you can do with these nodes. So that's nice. You can rearrange them if you want. Now there is something else. These are our parameters. Let's take the rectangle and the ellipse. No, we can. Let's take these as parameters as well. There. So now what I can do is to say that I want all this, and I want this to have this as one operation, so I can do merge selected nodes, and then if I double click, I see my whole program. If I can see all my logic that's applied, and if I do document, I see the main thing again. So here I can say, I could maybe call this one scale or size. Well, why not size? So now this one became size, this one became XY factor. This is a rectangle, and what is you can also do is to say that you want to pin these things. Let's pin all of them. What I could have done also is simply select them, then I have them all there, and then I can pin them. But now if I go back out of here and I don't select anything, they're there. If I do select something, now it became one thing, and I cannot select it. Why not? No, I cannot select it anymore. So I can work on these parameters. Okay, they are still modifiable. Ellipse and rectangle are there. What happened to my other parameters? They didn't get pinned. There. Oh, no, they're pinned. Normally you would expect to see the name there, but that we don't see. So this is the scale, and this is the factor between both. So, what else can we do? We can go and have a look at all these nodes. Because there are a lot you can search. So you can say subtract, then you find all the subtraction and the subplots. Flatten graphic. Let's do flatten graphic. What would that do? Nothing. Fully flatten. I don't know what that is. Wrap, extend, to graphic, count elements, count elements. That does not work. What I can do is this, and then say that I want the text, and the text is a parameter, so I want to do this, and I also want to put the text on an artboard. So I'm going to duplicate this one, put it in between there, and then put my text there. Text is not visible because I also need to transform it, I guess. Also, my other thing disappeared. Maybe I shouldn't have done artboard. Maybe it would be smarter to simply write some text, use this hello, and then now it's properly integrated. And then there, now it's one. Okay, good. So this is counted as one thing, but somehow my, yeah, this got disconnected. So this one is good. Oops. This I'm going to delete. That's not working. Not sure why that is there. Yeah, this one does not cooperate very well. And that doesn't work either. My one is there. But now it's on an infinite canvas. So this seems to be an infinite canvas. time it's not an infinite canvas anymore. Okay, so let's end it there.